We just heard a lot of bhashan from CK and DD about their choices of 1, 2, 3, 4, and completely unsurprisingly, they had very different choices of 1, 2, 3, 4. So, DD,
yeah,
I think good weekend.
Yes.
300 odd kilometers what we've done so far. And on multiple bikes.
Correct.
Right? We had the GS, we had the Xpulse, the 250 ADV, and the brand new bike in
all
town.
All new Scram 411 from
the Scram 411. So, what's your take, Didi, across these 4 motorcycles?
Yeah, it's a very unique experience which we had today, which we never had before, because we always used to ride in a similar brand of motorcycle, more or less. Now we got 4 different motorcycles, and we had a good luck and opportunity to test. I think the 411 from RE, KTM, 250, Xpulse, and 310. Yeah, it's a great experience.
So how would you rate it? What's your preference amongst these?
Like each got its own strength. Finally we can come to which is the jack of all. Which is a tough choice actually. So if I come to the 310, it's a beautiful highway tourer. It just munches up the miles, and you can travel the distance. And KTM is ready to race. It's high RPM, high revving motorcycles, and you should be always on the ball in that. That's a different ball game. Yeah. I loved actually Scram, Himalayan Scram. You know, like it is, though it's not that powerful, it struggles to get to 100. But whenever you get a short burst of dirt road or off-roading, it just goes, it takes it, very easily. On the same scenario with these tires on the Himalaya, the KTM and the GS, it was difficult for me to go onto the dirt patches confidently. Yeah, and Xpulse, it's unique motorcycles.
Yeah.
It has its concerns with highway traveling, but once it is on the off-road patch, nothing can beat that.
Yeah, Didi, I think that was a good summary that you provided. And if you were to pick amongst these 4 in an ascending order, which would be your go-to bike?
Yeah. My go-to bike would be 310GS. That would be the #1 choice for me. And second would be the ADV KTM 250. And I'll go with the Scram. I was surprised, but I really like that motorcycles, and I'll place it at #3, and the Xpulse 200 at 4th
was the last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amongst these 4 motorcycles. Yeah.
Makes sense. Because I think when I did ride all the 4 motorcycles, I think the Scram goes up to a easy 100. I think it does an easy 100 and it struggles later on. I think in that ways even the Xpulse as well, 90, 100, and then both of it struggle. I know it might be a bit slower getting to the ton mark. I think the GS had a lot of grunt in it, so it could easily do 100 plus without breaking a sweat, and the same thing with this smooth machine. Now, if I have to make a pick amongst these 4 bikes, I think my preference would be the Xpulse.
Is it so?
Yes, it's weak on your 4-laners, but I think on the curvy roads here, I think I could easily keep up with you guys. And when we had the ride up the Patla Hill, I think this was very, very evident.
Yeah, definitely. You can throw the motorcycle around.
Yeah. And I think, a lighter motorcycle, I think it definitely had a lot more fun in the curvy stretches as well. So yeah, that would be my first. And I think this I would go in as my second choice. Between the BMW and the KTM, I think it's going to be a tight finish between the 2.
Then you have to choose.
If I still have to choose, I think I would go in for the GS because of the buzzy nature of the engine, and I think the ease of riding without having to drop a gear. Yes, it has the vibes that we did discuss, and then the last one would be this, but nevertheless it's not a bad motorcycle.
It's got its own fantastic.
Just that you're putting a gun on my head and asking me to make a choice. I've been making my choice. That's about it.
In summary, my choice is #1 is 310GS. The second one will be KTM 250 Adventure. third goes to Himalayan Scram. The Xpulse is the fourth position.
So the first one obviously Xpulse, and second I would go in for the Scram 411. Third would be the Beamer, the GS310, and this would be my last choice, the KTM.
Okay.
So I think we need to hear from Bosky and from Trailmaster TMK.
Let's find out what their choices are. Come on, guys. Come on.
Their choice.
TMK.
Hey, Bosky.
We just heard a lot of Bhashan from CK and DD about their choices of 1, 2, 3, 4, and completely unsurprisingly, they had very different choices of 1, 2, 3, 4. His number 1 was DD's number 4.
well, each went for their own bikes. They ranked first for their own bikes. So, let me try to give an unbiased. And even though I'm a owner of the KTM, again, first is the highway and then the off-road. For the highway, I felt the 310GS was comfortable, but having said that, the vibrations was there, and then I felt the KTM to be better than GS in my opinion, though the bike is really good. Next is the Xpulse. I'm more comfortable with that, the seating, the comfort, suspension, everything. And then the Scram. Off-road, of course, Xpulse beats everything because of the weight and everything else, the way I can handle it. With the other three, I don't think it's a mix. So here I would say still the KTM, then the 310GS, and then finally the Scram. Overall, I would still go with the KTM first.
Yeah, it's your choice. You have to make the choice with kind of usage you're going to put the motorcycle through. So your first choice would still be the KTM.
First choice is always is KTM. Yeah. Next, I would, I'm very comfortable with the Xpulse. So next would be that, then the 310GS, and finally the Scram. It's more about how I felt during this entire ride, both on the highway and the off-road. So that's my choice.
So I guess three of you bought motorcycles that's ranking number 1 in your list. So either you actually have made the right choice, or you're bloody bullshitting that you don't want to accept you screwed up with your choice. No, that's good. I understand. I agree completely with what you say. The usage defines the choice. To me, I have an Xpulse. I absolutely love that motorcycle. I mean, I rode the Scram today. Instead, I didn't bring my Xpulse. I brought the Scram, and I'm glad I did, because it's given us a chance to understand.
True. It gives a very good perspective of what's in the segment, and then you'll be able to pick what is.
Yeah, this is from 1.5 lakhs. We have up to 4 lakhs.
4 lakhs.
Yeah, that's the range of motorcycles. So,
true.
So pretty good. I think we covered the entry level. Of course, the Himalayan is there, but it's been there for a long time. So this is a pretty close country cousin of the Himalayan. So I guess we can evaluate and talk about it. Yeah, coming back, yes, I love the Xpulse for what it can do on smaller roads and dirt roads, and I don't like it so much of what it cannot do on the highway. That's more on 4-lane expressways. Otherwise, I think it's kind of manageable.
True.
I found the KTM 250 like hot knife through butter. Everything works so precise. Yeah, the throttle, the clutch, the brakes, the suspension, the switches, very tactile, very precise. It's hard to say, let's hit a false neutral. It's hard to make a braking mistake by misjudging the brake pressure. Everything is positive and very defined.
Sorry. Correct.
I got comfortable with it the quickest. The Scram took me 60-70 kilometers before I started to started to use the motorcycle the way, there were other 100cc bikes going past me for the first 70-80 kilometers before I could get used to the Scram. The 310, I loved the engine. It's got fantastic grunt. What I dislike is the vibration. I just don't like that vibration. It just vibes way too much, and hard acceleration, it makes it even worse. So in this 4,
yeah, in this 4, so what is your 1, 2, 3, 4?
My first choice, I would buy the KTM 250.
Okay.
Though it doesn't have the off-road capability of Xpulse, nor the tractability of the Scram,
True.
nor the grunt, the mid-range and bottom grunt of the 310, it's a more usable machine across all the terrain. The only place where I would have difficulty or the mods is in dirt, bad, some of the bad, like we experienced some of it today.
Right.
I could understand why you were having some difficulty there. What I would do is take that motorcycle, improve my dirt riding skills, right? Instead of changing the motorcycle. So if this can do 3 out of 4 well, the fourth weakness is me, not the motorcycle. So if I can learn to ride dirt better, that will be my choice. And it's my number 1 choice. That's my first choice, number 1. Number 2, I would go for the Xpulse.
Right.
I think we have made a couple of videos on the Xpulse, so nothing much to elaborate. It's a great all-rounder. Weakness on big express highways. Right. But still, the fun I get off the highway, I'll put up with that.
Exceed that in
the pain of the open highway. So this would be my second choice. My third choice would be the 310. Okay. I would pick the 310, and last would be the Scram. Actually, it was a tough call between the Scram and the 310. Scram kind of does everything in a dull way. It does everything, but it's all a bit dull.
Yeah, remember I was saying earlier, it's the typical RE.
Typical RE.
Typical RE.
It does everything. It does everything fine. There's nothing wrong. I can't. Apart from its weight, there's nothing to put a finger on and say that's not good. So yeah, that's it. So that is my choice. I guess we all 4 ended up with 4 different choices.
And that's what motorcycling is all about.
Oh, well said. Good. Thanks. Let's get back to Bangalore.
Okay, retake. Smooching, but